My name is Darren Hupke, and this is Pixels and Polygons, part of the Soundstone Network. Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of the show. New week, new Friday. This week we've got a returning guest. We've got Andre from Find Time returning back to the show. He answers one of the, I guess, simpler questions in my list, but also one of the more entertaining ones to hear, because you get to hear about what is one of his favorite games or games he considers the greatest of all time. I'm surprised that people don't answer this more often, because it's just a good way to gush about one of your favorite games. But I've got a long list of questions people pick from, so it doesn't always come up. But I'm glad to have Andre back on the show and answering this question. Take a look at the show notes below for links to his show. You can listen to his podcast, Find Time, and subscribe to that. Otherwise, when is this coming out? This is going to be... Okay. So I'm back from San Diego Comic-Con, just as a fan, went there, had some fun, met Gabe from Boss Fight Books. He had a booth there, so I was able to pick up a bunch of cool Boss Fight books. If you are not reading those books, you definitely should. Huge endorsement for me. So many great ones, and they've got a Kickstarter going on themselves. And, you know, I like Kickstarters, not just for me, but for supporting others as well, too. So take a look at that. Otherwise, I'm plugging away at the next volume of 32-Bit Library, the Greatest Hits volume still. I know I have been for weeks, but the last couple of days from being back from Comic-Con, I've still had time off work, so I've been making some significant work. I've basically doubled what was already done, and I'm about halfway through the written production work, which means it's all downhill from here. I've also been playing the games and capturing the screenshots right before writing, so it should come together pretty quick. I have a very arbitrary timeline in my head. I want to have all the written work done by the end of August. So hopefully that means it'll be coming together and be able to be printed and done and Kickstarter running in the fall for sure. Otherwise, Beat 'em Up is out August 8th. I'm shipping copies of that to the Kickstarter backers, and they should all be shipped technically before that August 8th release date, but you can order it online through Amazon, which is really only use Amazon if you are an international reader. If you're like in Canada or the UK or whatever, you can use your local Amazon affiliate link and get it shipped directly to you, since it uses their print-on-demand system type of thing. So that's the best way to get the books shipped to you at the cheapest cost. But if you're in the U.S., definitely don't go through Amazon. Go through pixelsandpolygons.net. I've got available there for you to order, along with all the other books. Retro Game Zine. By the time this episode releases, I will have the new issue, the Blaster Master issue, with Mike Drucker. Super awesome contributor, super awesome person. You should read his book, Good Game, No Rematch. That is out and available now, even audiobook version. But you can pick up that issue if you are a fan of the NES classic Blaster Master. So that is all the recents. If you ever miss anything, find me on Blue Sky at pixelsandpolygons.net or at darrenhupke.bsky.social, and check out pixelsandpolygons.net or buy the stuff digitally on patreon.com/darrenhupke/shop. Find all those links in the show notes. Enough rambling. Hear the ad from one of the Soundstone shows, and then after that break, you will join the episode. And I will catch you all next week. Bye.
Listen to Flashback 64, the chronological Nintendo 64 podcast. Hosts Gooey, McKenna, and friends flashback to the 90s and early 2000s with a look at the Nintendo 64's catalog and its contemporary cultural and historical context. Starting with the console's launch titles and proceeding in release order, we discuss classics like GoldenEye, Super Mario 64, and Star Fox 64, as well as some not-so-beloved games, lesser-known titles, and everything in between. Along with game-specific deep dives, we also cover other bits of pop culture from the time, like films, music, and more. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome to Pixels and Polygons, a conversational podcast about video games. I shared this in the previous recording that my guest and I just did, but that, due to technical difficulties, is lost to time, and no one will ever hear it. But it's been a few weeks since I have recorded, as I banked a bunch of episodes and had a little bit of a vacation, essentially. So I'm fresh back to recording, and I guess because of that, it helps me not pay attention to certain technical needs and caused errors to happen. But anyway, I'm back again. I'm recording with returning guest. Andre from Fine Time is here. Andre, hello again, or for the first time in a while, or whatever this is.
From the void, yes. Thank you for having me. Glad to be back on here. I had fun last time. I will have fun again. Damn it.
Damn it. Yeah, just a cloud of annoying frustration over me for a moment, but I'll shake it off once we start answering some of these questions and having some good dialogue. But
we'll be fine.
Losing an episode, y'all. You don't ever want to lose an episode. But have you been? Have you been? You mentioned what you might be doing this afternoon, off air and everything. But what's new in the Andre world? Like what do you have to update? What is the? You mentioned you might go to the movies. What's the last movie you saw in movie theaters?
It was a few weeks ago. What did I say? Superman. It was Superman.
Oh, okay. So that was recent.
Yeah, it was recent. I go to the movies, I would say, every 6 to 8 weeks. I see, I don't know, some movies a year, eight movies a year or so. Not like too many. It's like some people go to the movies like every week. They're like seeing something, like I'm not that kind of person. Not that many movies interest me, but when they do, they do. But yeah, Superman was definitely the last one I saw.
Pre-kids, my wife and I would be at the movies essentially every weekend. AMC had like this stub cards or stubs card program, and for every $100 you spent, you got $10 in concession cash. And at the end of the year, they sent an email saying oh wow, you recapping the year and all that stuff. You earned $140 in concession cash this year. Great job, Darren. Blah blah blah. And then I was like, wait a minute, $140 in concession. That's for every $10 or for every $100 I got 10. So does that mean I spent $1,400 on movies this year? And I mean, my wife and I, 2 tickets and whatever snacks we were getting and all that stuff, essentially every weekend, it trying to do the math, it kind of shook out that way. And I just thought that was kind of gross, but that was what we were doing, pre-kids.
Hey, what's wrong? There's nothing wrong with that. I love going to the theater. Here's the thing though. I almost never watch movies at home. I want to go watch it. I love going to the theater and watching a movie. Mm-hmm. So I'm not, I'm not saying I'll never watch a movie at home, but it's very rare. So I want to go see it. So that's why I love sitting in the movies with a big old large Mr. Pibb and some Reese's Pieces and watching a flick. Do we still call them flicks?
Skin flicks, yes. Reese's Pieces and Mr. Pibb, is that always the go-to, or do you shake it up and mix it up?
Sometimes I'll get a Sprite. Sometimes I'll shake it up. But Mr. Pibb, 85% of the time, Mr. Pibb. Reese's Pieces never changes. If they don't have Reese's Pieces, I don't want any candy. It's the only candy I want.
Yeah, I will do Red Vines, no Twizzlers. You can take that and shove it. And if I have my Red Vines, I sometimes will, splurge on a chocolate-based treat of some kind. So Reese's Pieces, sometimes fits that mold for me in the chocolate universe anyway, and it's in the spectrum.
Yep.
But I will go healthy with the drink and get a, in my mind, quote unquote healthy. So I'll get like, if it's a fancy fountain with multiple options, I'll get like the vitamin water or like a Powerade or something like that, because it's not, this isn't like a sugary Coke. This is definitely healthier than those options. So it balances out.
A big old vitamin water. Yeah, I like vitamin water. I don't think I've ever had vitamin water from a fountain.
Yeah, the Jimmy John's near my current work has that. And again, same thing in my head. I'm like, yep, this is healthier than a soda, so I'm going to do this. But it's not. Nobody's fooling anybody.
No, I like the Mr. Pibb for some reason. It always hits.
Pibb does it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, you ready to get into some this or that's?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay. PlayStation or Saturn?
Oh, PlayStation, PS1. Yes, of course. 100%.
First person or third person?
That's tough. I'll say third person for sure. Although there are some third-person games I feel like should be first person, but yes, yeah, third person for the most part.
So you said third person in the first person.
Yes.
You chose Tales of or Star Ocean?
Oh, Tales of. I have never been a Star Ocean person. I've tried several that I can never get into them. They always annoy me. So yeah, Tales for me for sure.
What was the last Tales of game?
Arise, Tales of Arise.
Yes, so I played that and I was hooked on that thing, and that was the first Tales of game I played in quite a while, actually, since probably the 360 Vesperia.
Oh wow.
But I tried to dabble in some, but like if they didn't hook me within like that first hour, and it felt like, I don't know, like I wasn't hooked, I wasn't going to commit to it or anything. But Arise, I was like stuck on, and I remember like posting things about it periodically every couple of days after another like couple hours into it, and like absolutely hooked to it and thought it was just the most amazing thing ever. And then getting into the third act and like the final chunk of the game, it completely just shat the bed. Like it just dumped its story. It grinded the game to a halt. It totally flipped even like the pacing of what you were getting through like battles and all that stuff. Like it was just like a weird pivot that it didn't totally ruin the game, because I still enjoyed it overall, but it literally took it out of this like near perfect like pedestal I had it on to just like, okay, that was a good game, and all because of this weird like ending like crash that they had.
That's so strange. Yeah, I have not played Arise, so definitely I'll see when I get there for sure. But yeah, that's kind of a shame. I hate when stuff does that, whether it's a movie or a game or anything, where it's like the last fourth or so is always like, what happened?
Yeah, well, it sprinkled in enough like side content and things. Like the pacing was really good, and when you wanted to explore the other side stuff, it definitely made sense to do it. And if you wanted to kind of proceed with the story, like it didn't feel like you were leaving things behind. Like if you wanted to be that completionist, it was worth it, like every second. And if you weren't like severely punished or anything by not doing it. But the battle system was great. Like all of it was great, and you could like revisit areas and keep it going. But like when it got to just a certain point in it where like you no longer were back, you couldn't go back to some like previous content, like you were like gated out of that, and it wasn't even like they like restarted it in a way. It was just it just was an odd choice to do. But that being said, I also played that Star Ocean Second Story like remake, Second Story R, and that was the first Star Ocean game I spent any significant period of time with, and that game, I rode that thing out 100%, got the platinum trophy, like did the new game plus and beat it again and everything. Like that was another one I was obsessed with, and first time Star Ocean player essentially with that. And yeah, that's a huge recommendation.
Star Ocean 2 on PS1, I always cite as the first game I ever fell asleep playing. So like I could not get into it at all. So obviously like a remake, a totally different thing, and it looked cool. It looked like they were doing like the HD 2D thing almost like Square Enix is doing lately. Yeah. So like I don't know, it seemed cool, but I just always remember those bad PS1 memories of me just snoozing. So like I don't know, man. Yeah, maybe sometime when it's cheap I might give it a poke because it looks cool.
No, it does. That's part of why I loved it, is the graphics, but it's also got some the quote unquote quality of life improvements. So there are some skills you can teach yourself, like this bodyguard ability that lets one of your party members essentially run into an enemy like that's randomly appears on the map for the random battles. That person will run into them and like basically auto do the battle for you if they are a lower level than you. So like if it's going to be just a random, just like an easy fight that you're just going to breeze right on through, there's a high percentage chance the more you invest in this skill that somebody will just run out of your like, you know, your little character model and run out of you and like intercept that battle, and you get if it's not all the experience in gold, you get a percentage of it, which is enough that like if you kind of want to grind it out a little bit, you can fight in these battles until you start to become overpowered and then run around like kind of like farming and mopping up these enemies without actually doing the battles just to get some gold and everything. And it just to me it felt like it wasn't such like a mindless grind. Like you can get to a point where you can use the game within the game to like save your sanity and pacing wise. They're just neat little skills like that. I loved it.
That sounds cool. That does sound cool.
I don't know why. I mean, I just like those games recently, so I took us in a tangent there. But Tales of and Star Ocean in recent years have done great things.
No, I have never enjoyed a Star Ocean, unfortunately. Yeah, so definitely Tales. Not that Tales is perfect. There's bad Tales games as well. So don't get me wrong, but yeah.
Let's go graphics or frame rate.
Oh, frame rate. I'm a frame rate whore. I higher the better. Lower that resolution, kill them polygons, do whatever you have to do to get the 60 or 120 or whatever your target is. I need the frame rate. I will always care about that more.
I was just recently playing Croc on the PS1 for my upcoming book, and in the there's a cheat, like a Game Shark cheat, essentially, that lets you unlock the frame rate somehow, and like it does something, but like this may not have been a Game Shark thing and more of like just an emulator hack thing, but it's through the cheats menu. But it let me just kind of like crash the game a bit but unlock the frame rate, and I was like, oh okay, 60 frames per second Croc, like this is making this game feel a little bit better, even though the game is just a generic kind of game.
Yeah, that was the era where frame rates were very low. So yeah, and things were sluggish. So yeah.
EGM or next gen?
Oh, EGM for sure. I've always never liked the tone sometimes of next generation. It always felt a bit snotty to me sometimes, or like, I just, even back then, like I would get it every so often and just piss myself off. It's like, why are you guys talking this way about Pilotwing 64? What's wrong with you? Right? Like, do you get it? Yeah, it's not a video game. You don't shoot stuff. Sorry. Right? Yeah. Like, it just seemed like a lot of times they missed the point. So EGM for me, for sure.
Yeah, EGM was always it was a subscription for the longest time, but even when I was a younger kid, that was the first purchase. If there was additional budget within that month and I was back again before new issues were on the stands, then I'd start going down my list, getting other magazines. It would be a very, flush with cash month if a next gen walked home with me. But there were some occasional issues that I would get that, I'd like, oh, okay, there's one that I remember that always stands out, but it had a whole thing on DigiPen, that school for game design and everything. And I remember reading that as a kid thinking like, wait a minute, like I can actually make games? Like I'm going to move to Washington and I'm going to go to this school and I'm going to become a game designer. And 9-year-old me was all jazzed about it.
Yep. I can totally, you saw the dream.
Yeah. Let's do one more. Jack and Daxter or Ratchet and Clank?
So I like the first Jack and Daxter games. I can't stand the rest of them. I think they suck ass. So I guess it's Ratchet and Clank, but I don't have a huge affinity for either one. I think I would definitely say Ratchet and Clank, though. I remember playing the first one and enjoying it. I played Rift Apart. I think it's a really good game that's not for me, if that makes any sense. I think it's so cool, and the things they do with technology is insane, but it's not like a game I am in love with. But Ratchet and Clank, for sure, I would say.
Yeah, I just like the Jack and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank. I was like, hey, yeah, here's two Sony buddy cop, things. Let's pick one.
Yeah. I played Daxter on PSP. I thought that was okay.
Yeah. That was one of those PSP sellers, the Ready at Dawn developed one. But Ready at Dawn, I mean, they put in the work. Sony basically was like, hey, I know you want to make a bigger game. We're going to keep you here on the PSP, and you're going to get the most and squeeze the most out of this hardware. And they finally got called up to the big leagues. They got asked to make The Order 1886 on PS4, and it just did not hit. And then there was cool, well, you're dead to us. We're going to move on from you. You guys can go make your own games and do whatever. And they just, I felt like they put in all this effort to get their shot, and they only got one shot, and it just didn't hit.
I will say The Order looks incredible. That's one of the best looking games I have ever seen. At least I can say that much. I did play it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't think it's a dud by any means. It's just it just wasn't that hit that they wanted it to be, and whether that was Sony wanted them to have that be out launch window and be that technical showcase, and it maybe wasn't quite ready or not. But yeah.
Well, the technical showcase ended up being Resistance, I guess, but or not Resistance. What is it?
Killzone, Shadows Fall. Yeah,
Killzone,
which also is a pretty game. Yeah, I think it's a pretty game anyway. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that was the this and or that. Let's move into the icebreaker before the meat and potatoes of the episode. I caught myself saying that again. I only say that on this show. I never use that phrase in life. But meat and potatoes is the Pixels and Polygons exclusive for some reason. I'm vegetarian too, so it also makes no sense for me to use that.
Well, meat doesn't have to be literal meat. It could be, my
Impossible Patty. Yeah.
Right,
we just had some fake sliders last night for dinner.
I'm eating the real meat, though.
Eat that meat. You heard it here first, folks. Icebreaker. What game did you wrongly judge by its cover or title?
Oh, that's a very good question. Let me think here.
I'll give you one of mine. I think I may have referenced this game in a much earlier episode, but one that I went back to on the PS2 after being bored and needing to find something and found it for cheap, but passed it because of its cover, was The Adventures of Cookies and Cream, which was this neat little... I guess it was kind of meant to be played kind of single player, but you could also share a controller, but the left analog stick controlled one character on the left side of the screen, and the right analog stick controlled the right character, the second character on the right side of the screen. And it was a neat little platforming, challenging game for the PS2, but it's got just a fruity, cheesy, Fisher Price style cover and everything, and but it actually required some dexterity and skill to actually play, which was a nice challenge. And so it was one I definitely looked at, thought was going to be simple and dumb, and then came back to it and quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, now that you say that, I'm thinking of one now for PS1 and PS2. There is a company, I forget the company now. They license out a couple of shmups from Japan and localize them here as Mobile Light Force for PS1, and then Mobile Light Force 2 for PS2. Now, these games don't have anything to do with each other. Mobile Light Force on PS1 is Gunbird, the Psycho shmup from 1995. There was a PS1 port for Gunbird on PS1. They brought it here in 2003 to North America's Mobile Light Force, and it's that you're probably looking at it right now. It's this Charlie's Angels ass looking thing. It's just a Japanese shmup. I don't know why they localized it this way, because I saw it on the shelf a couple times, and I remember the forums I went to at the time were no, this is Gunbird. I was like, this is Gunbird? Why did they do this?
That cover is definitely one that I'd be yeah, I'm good. I'm going to move on from this.
Yeah, exactly. And it was $10 or something in the bargain then, so I never paid it any mind. And then they put out simultaneously, practically, Mobile Light Force 2 for PS2, which is Castle Shikigami, a classic shmup.
What's crazy is it's the same cover art in both of those games. There's a picture here side by side of that. So that Mobile Light Force, Charlie's Angels-esque cover it's the PS1 case with like a red title screen in the PS1 Jewel case, but then the PS2 case is right next to it. Same art, just slightly more of it's seen because it's the bigger PS2 case. But it's two different games, but same cover art.
Yeah, and they're both great shmups. The Gunbird port to PS1 is okay. The Castle Shikigami port in PS2 is really good. It's crazy. So this is like, if you want some good shmupping, here they are. And then it's like, but they localize them in like the stupidest way possible. So like, I didn't know they were shmups for a while.
Yeah, I remember seeing those, and I also never played them. XS Games is who published it. They did Hugo and the Evil Mirror, which is this European-ass game. There was a Hugo game on the PS1. I got to go to Europe once from an odd trip with a friend of mine, one of my best friend, and I wanted to buy a souvenir, so I found at some flea market like an old PS1 game, and I was like, what is the most European looking game I can get just for like a memory? And it was this Hugo game, and like, they love their like character 3D platformers that are so jank and bad.
They sure do.
But
that's a
XS
thing.
published that. Well, they did a bunch of garbage. Good stuff, but garbage too.
But yeah, the Mobile Light Force stuff is always what I think of for the most fake out box arts, basically, of all time. I don't know why they did that. Probably just because they were being cheap as possible. The only change I remember to Gunbird that they localized in the Mobile Light Force version is that they changed the robot character's name to MILF 2000. MILF 2000. Why would they do? Did they just think that was funny? I don't know why they would do that. It's crazy.
That's good.
It's insane.
Okay. Well, that was a good pull for that question. Those icebreakers, you never know what you're going to get, but that was fun. Okay, well, let's get into this question. Not the question that's lost to technological failures, but this is a good one. This is one, but this one I want to be like more of an evergreen episode, but not as many people have answered this for whatever reason. So, this will probably only like maybe the fourth time this has been asked. But what is a game you consider one of the greatest of all time? So that's pretty straight up, pretty simple. It doesn't actually have to be critically that way, but one that you consider that you would put on your own greatest of all time list.
I think it might be considered critically this way, or at least it got very high marks from everyone, and I don't know anyone who dislikes it, but my answer is going to be Super Mario Odyssey.
Oh, yeah.
Because here's the thing about this game. Now, everyone knows me. I'm a Nintendo person. I'm a Mario person. Many Mario games I think of are the greatest games of all time. Super Mario Odyssey is not only I think it's almost underrated. As much praise as it's gotten, I think it's insane how good that game is, and I feel like it doesn't actually get as much praise as it deserves. I think it's the best game on Switch. I think it's one of the best Nintendo games in the last 20 years. I think it's the best game of the 2010s. I think Mario Odyssey is so exceptional in everything that it does. It's, like I said, I think it's underrated. I remember at the Game Awards that year, the Breath of the Wild won Game of the Year, and I'm like, it's Mario Odyssey, folks. Like, I cannot, like, I get it. It's Zelda. People will always say Zelda's the best, whether it is or not. And don't get me wrong. I love Breath of the Wild. I'm not even saying anything bad about it. I love that game, too. It's just that I feel like Mario Odyssey got the shaft. I think level design wise, here's the thing, and here's something actually might frame this better to your listeners. I actually don't like 3D platformers that much. You probably just heard me kind of be about both Jak and Daxter and Ratchet and Clank. That's not a genre I really enjoy. Banjo-Kazooie, get out of here. Not for me. I don't like that stuff typically. I like Mario games. Right? So to get me to love a 3D platformer, probably only Nintendo can do it. As of this recording, I just played through Donkey Kong Bonanza a few days ago. I beat it, and I really enjoyed it. That game is not Mario Odyssey, and not even close. Not even close, even though you can tell it's made by the same team.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. I was going to see if you had played that yet or not. I know you have a Switch too, but yeah, that knowing that's from the Odyssey team, did they hit that same vein? But okay, I guess they did not then. So
no, they did not. Well, not for me. I think like it, and then you know what it comes down to? It's level design. As it comes down to anything with Mario, it's like I think every single area in Mario Odyssey is so exceptionally built and so crafted and so greatly wound around itself. And what I mean by that is just like you can look in any given corner, and Breath of the Wild does this too, where it's like you're just exploring and it's like, hey, that looks like something, and you find like a Korok there, right? In Breath of the Wild, right? Your brain does that. Mario Odyssey is also so good at that. Now, don't get me wrong. Like Donkey Kong Bonanza is a very different game. You're punching through walls. You're doing it's not like a platforming game in that sense, or even like Donkey Kong Country where you're doing these jumps and like Bonanza's not that type of game. So maybe that's just me. I like the pure platforming stuff, and Mario Odyssey gives you that. It gives you exploration. It gives you a story that matters. I know that sounds insane to say in a Mario game, but like it's true. It really keeps you going. I need that motivation. I think that's my problem with like other 3D platformers. They want you to collect stuff just because it exists, and I'm not going to do that. Just because you put around things for me to get and you say I'm supposed to get them, if I don't have to get them, I'm not going to do it. Like I don't really find that fun. Mario Odyssey is so organic about it. You need a certain amount of moons to get to the next place, but like you can just go around and explore and do stuff. Hey, it's time to go. Okay. And if you just play the game that way, wow, you're having a great time. So I think the flow of it, level design wise, music, absolutely out of this world. New Donk City and its conclusion, shall we say, made me almost cry. I think Mario Odyssey is maybe easily in my top 10 favorite games of all time. I don't think most people think of it that way, even if they are Mario people. If like Mario 3 is like my favorite game ever, like Mario Odyssey's right there. So I would say it's better than Galaxy. I would say it's better than 64. I would say it's better than a lot of things. So yeah, man, I actually think Mario Odyssey is underrated, and it is definitely for me one of the absolute titans of all time.
I need to play it. I've not actually played Odyssey. It was in my gap years with Nintendo, and I feel like I feel like I do want to get this Switch too, and I think I will sometime. Maybe by the end of the year and everything. And I think I owe it to myself to make sure I catch up and play Odyssey, because Mario 64 is one of my top 5 games of all time. And I was talking with my buddy, the same one who let me go to Europe with him and get that amazing Hugo game. We were talking casually and all that stuff, and I shared that about, like, oh yeah, 64 is still in my top. And he's like, oh yeah, for me, it's, the best 3D Mario game is Odyssey for sure. And like, I mean, obviously I hear a lot of praise for it and all that stuff, but like he, much similar to you, was like just talking about like its design overall, its pacing, like everything that it offers is like just the top notch, like 3D Mario experience bar none. And, that everyone should be playing that game. So like knowing that's potentially could dethrone like 64 in my mind, like that sounds impossible, but the fact that now multiple people are saying that is the very much their reality, it's something I want to experience. So hopefully I do that soon.
I really hope you do. I can't say, obviously you're hearing me right now, I can't say enough good things about it. It's an incredible game, top to bottom. It's almost impossible to criticize, because I always say, like, you don't really, if you can't criticize something, like how much do you really like it, you can always say something bad about it. I almost find it impossible to criticize Odyssey. I can't. It's so hard to. So that's how good I think this game is.
One thing I also loved about Mario 64 is there's a snow level that you can kind of glitch the game to have Mario lose his hat and then go back into the castle like hatless and all that stuff, or at least most of it you can run on that stage hatless and all that stuff. And I always thought like a hatless Mario was always like a super cool thing, like, oh yeah, this is rad. And then Odyssey, I mean, the whole game's designed around you like throwing his hat in order to either take the form of somebody else or like use it for platforming and getting around and whatnot. But I guess the hatless Mario should have been the clue that, like, hey, you love this. He loved hatless Mario as a kid, Darren. Here's the game that's literally calling attention to the hatless Mario flying through the air.
I love 64 so much. God, when Nintendo put out that 3D All Stars, and I hadn't played 64 basically since it came out, I'm like, I like this more. I thought it wouldn't hold up very well. I liked it more. That game holds up beautifully. I think that game is incredible. 64. So yeah,
fun, cool. Well, we did it. That's the episode.
Yes, we did.
We answered the question, and that's the goal every time. So thank you, Andre, for coming back and
thank you,
going through a lost episode void and doing this one. We'll come back together soon to answer that question again. And,
yes, we will.
We'll have some fun with that. Otherwise, follow Fine Time, fun podcast that Andre does. I will put the link in the show notes below. And you had mentioned it in our last episode, but you guys cover lots of different topics. It's not 100% gaming and everything, but you did a solo episode a couple weeks back, at least at the time of this recording, where you just covered some of your favorite like Capcom arcade game music, and it was just fun. Just to I listened to it on my drive to work, and it wasn't a heavy lift to just participate and listen in and hear you just kind of comment at the the start and end of the songs and everything. But it's always something fun, something different, especially in between episodes and things that you're listening to. Well worth a listen. So subscribe to Fine Time, seek out the show. Anything else you want to share before we part ways?
I think that's it. Thanks for plugging the show. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then we will we'll connect again, and we'll have a future episode on the books in the near future for you to make up for that, but also just because you're definitely a guest I want to continue to call back. Always good chatting with you, Andre. You have a good one.
Will do. Thanks.
Bye.
Hello, we are Kirby Conversations, a podcast on Kirby, along with other adjacent subjects like Smash Brothers, HAL Laboratory, and other related Nintendo games.
In each episode, we take an in-depth, well-researched look at a Kirby topic, drawing on our decades of experience playing Kirby games, creating Kirby-related content, and working in and around the video game industry. I'm Sean Douglas. I'm a theater and video game journalist.
And my name's Bridget. I'm an online Kirby commentator and collector.
Our team also includes photographer and Nintendo ambassador Kai Captain Dangerous Parker and Gigi, the editor-in-chief of Wick Kirby. Join us for deep dives into Kirby's history, interviews with industry professionals, and even inside looks at Nintendo, as together we explore all things Kirby and HAL Laboratory. You can find Kirby Conversations on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.